Hi guys, this is Leo from One Happy Widow, and I have a special guest today. So I am bringing on, some of you who've watched the videos already know who this is. So she's very famous. She is my main man, Stormy. This is actually my sister, and she has agreed to come on. She has created a PowerPoint presentation, a Google Slides presentation for us. So she is the expert when it comes to vetting people. When I was on the dating sites, she was the one who was in the back scenes checking all the people for me. So she knows so much about this that I felt like she was a better person to be able to explain how to go about doing all this stuff. So when you get to that point where you've been on the dating sites and maybe you've talked to a few people and you feel like maybe you want to get to know someone a little better, maybe you want to give them your phone number, maybe you want to start chatting or talking on the phone, maybe you want to meet this person. First of all, you probably need to have a voice of reason with you, because emotions get carried away sometimes, or they kind of blind you to red flags that you might otherwise see. And so your voice of reason will be that person who helps to ground you. So Stormy, say hello.
Hey,
Hello,
hey, how's
Stormy.
it going? Hey, Wood fam.
So she was my voice of reason, and she was the person who was behind the scenes kind of checking on everybody. And she probably saved me from, maybe even from death. Who knows? Who knows? She's going to give us some pointers on how to vet people before you give them too much of your information, right?
Right. I'm here to help you. Here to help. All right, so good to see y'all, Wood fam. I just want to let y'all know that I am in the Wood fam. I watch all the videos. I'm on the Facebook, but I am not a widow myself. I'm actually, I guess you would call me a divorcee. I've had 2 divorces. No spouses that have died, but I've gone through 2 divorces, and I tell you that because that's kind of how I got to where I'm at today, where I'm the private detective or background checker. The way I found out how to do all these things is when I was married to my first husband. I had to kind of figure out what he was doing behind my back. Found out he was having an affair. And so the way I found that out was way back in the day when you got your cell phone bill. Remember, you used to get your cell phone bill and it would itemize all of your phone numbers. I would get the bill and I'd find this number that I wasn't sure about. I didn't know who it belonged to. So I had to find out how to do a reverse search on the internet. Like, who does this number belong to? And so I had to do some searching on the internet, found out who the number belonged to. It belonged to some woman. And I was like, well, who is this woman? Do some more searching. Found out she was married.
Oh my gosh.
Who was she married to? Do some more searching. So I kind of backed into this knowledge by having to be a private detective for myself. Who my husband was having an affair with, where she lived, where she worked, who her husband was, all this stuff, and that's kind of how I got my background knowledge. Exactly.
And I will tell you this, she is good, okay? Because she would come back and she'd be like, well, I found out this and I found out that. And he's a homeowner, and guess what? He's married, or he has an arrest record, or like she's telling me all this stuff. And I'm like, how do you find this out? She's like, well, I just did a blah, 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 blah. She gave me all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So just so you know, she is good. As a matter of fact, if she ever decides not to teach, I would highly advise to make herself like a private detective for hire. Maybe she could just be like the background checker for all the people in the Wood fam who are on the dating apps, and just like be your vet person or whatever. So she could probably make more money than she does now.
Before I get started, I want to let you know that when you go online, there is a bunch of sites that you can go to that will charge you money to do this, like information for money. Like, you can put in somebody's name and they'll do a background check for you. Everything that I do is online. It's free. All this is like public record. You don't have to pay anybody or any company or whatever to do this. So if you go online and you're looking for information about somebody, you don't have to put in a credit card number and pay some company to do this. If you spend a little time, you can find it all yourself. Everything that I find is online. It's free. It's public. It's not like I'm going through somebody's mail or going through somebody's dirty laundry.
You don't have to go to the dark web to find all this stuff. Just
right.
Awesome. Okay, so tell us, walk us through some of your most common ways of of vetting someone.
All right, so I think I started with checking out the prospect. So maybe after you swipe right on somebody and you're like, I think I might want to talk to this person. I think one of the first places you might want to look for some information about them is social media profiles. All right, because if they've got a dating app, they probably have some social media profiles. Whether it's Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat, there's probably some social media profiles. And so if you have their first and last name, you could go check out their profiles and just kind of see what they're posting.
Well, you can find out their political affiliations.
Their political views.
Yeah.
You can find out their political views. Are they conservative?
Liberal.
Liberal. That's
lefty
it.
or a righty. You said you don't want to
their-
step on anybody's toes, but you can find out their religious affiliations, their political affiliations, how they feel about some
certain, I guess, ideologies. I guess that's the best way to put it.
You can also, you can just basically find out where they stand on certain issues, and you can decide if that's going to be an issue for you or not. For some people, you might not care if they are vaccinated or not, or if they are a mask person or not, or whatever. That might not bother you, but it might be a kind of a strong thing. And so it might be something you don't even have to worry about asking, because you can look on their feed and say, okay, we are going to argue about a lot of things, I can already tell. So that's probably not going to be a match for me.
Like when you find somebody that's on a dating app that you might want to start chatting with, I think you would probably start with looking at their social media profiles.
And guess what? If they don't give it to you, they're probably married. Just saying. Like a lot of people who say, well, I don't want to give you my social media stuff. Number one, either they're married or they're not really who they say they are, and you're about to find that out, or they've got some skeletons in the closet they don't want you to know about. So good lessons.
I think
learn.
You can kind of get a sense of somebody by what they're willing to put out there and what they want to put out there.
Exactly. And this is kind of a sidebar too, but this was definitely not somebody I was trying to date. But one day we're going to tell you the story about when I was assaulted in a restaurant.
Yes.
And the person who assaulted me, Stormy went on there and she found not only his Facebook profile, but his fiance's Facebook profile, and found out basically everything about their lives and their history and their backgrounds. And by the time we got done, we realized how dangerous this person actually was, and that we didn't really want to be involved in whatever was going on. But it was an eye opener for sure. And just by scrolling through their feed and seeing what they were posting about, we found out just so much about their personalities, their jobs, their lifestyle, their choices, and things like that. And so even if it's not for dating, it was a pretty good tool.
Or if you look at somebody's Facebook and they are still posting, beer can pyramids, then you might think, you know what? I don't think this guy has gotten, his maturity level is still in his 20s, and I don't even want to deal. So I would say social media profiles is probably like your step one preliminary search.
Gotcha.
Your next search, if you decide, okay, I like talking to this person, I want to take it to the next step, you can do some public record searching. When I do some public record searching, I go to whatever county you want to look in, like whatever county they live in, and you can just go to like www.countyname.gov. And you could probably find all of these records I'm going to talk about on the same page, like on a county government record page.
Okay.
If your county is set up like my county, it's like a one-stop shop. Like you can go to one web page and find a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
The first thing I want to talk about is maybe some wedding and some divorce records. Because first of all, if you're talking to somebody, you want to make sure that they're actually single.
Yeah, that's that happened to me actually. Yeah, Stormy found out, which the guy had already told me, that he was separated, but before I even went any farther, she was like, hey, just so you know, this guy's still married, you know that, right? Which he had told me, but he actually wasn't separated. He was really just married. But anyway, yeah, she knew it before I even got a chance to tell her, because she had already looked the guy up and knew that he was still married. So
Yeah, so all wedding and divorce records that you can find them online. You can find out who initiated the divorce. You can find out like how long the divorce took. You can find out how long they've been divorced. Like, has this guy just got divorced? 1 month ago, 2 months ago.
Right.
You could just kind of get a gauge on their marital status and make sure basically that they're being honest with you
Gotcha.
about that. Like, you can look up their civil records. I mean, you can look up things as simple as like a speeding ticket. You can look up things like, have they been arrested for assault? You can look up things like, have they gone to magistrate court? You can see any kind of civil records, like anytime they've gone to court.
Gotcha.
And so you can kind of get an idea what their criminal background is.
Well, yeah.
If they've been to jail for it, if they pleaded guilty, not guilty, anything. If anybody has accused them of some kind of any kind of crime, they had to go to court for it, you would see it. And that's something you would want to know, especially if it's like domestic violence.
Any of these, all this information, I'm going to post it below in the description. So if you're not sure, we'll either post a link to it or we'll post a description of how you can find that link, in your own place. But there's a national registry, I think, for sex offenders, isn't there? Like a website you can go to, you can look up their name to see if they're on the sex offenders registry, because, especially if you got kids. Well, not like you want to date a sex offender anyway, but like if they're going to be around your kids or whatever, you want to make sure that you find out they are not on that registry. And that's public record too.
Right. This other thing that I've got on here is, which is something that you might not have thought about, is the tax assessor's records. If you know somebody's first and last name and what county they live in, you can go to the tax assessor's records and you can see where they live. It'll pull up their address, so you can see exactly where they live. You can see who's on the deed of their house. You can see if the ex-wife is still on the deed to their house. Wow. You can see if he owns the house or if he's living in mama's basement.
Oh yeah. Gosh.
Not
Never
that,
even thought about that.
If you don't own a house, that doesn't make you a bad person, but I'm just saying you can just see if they own a house. Like I said, you can see where they live. That might help you decide if you want to go to that person's house or not.
Right. Or it could just be that, whatever, if you've talked to them a little bit or if you've texted with them and they've given you some information, it could just back up what they've said, or you could catch them in a lie. If the guy says, yeah, I own a home and this is, and I live in blah, blah, blah. And then you find out that he's living in his mom's basement, it could let you know that he lied. And so if he's going to lie about that, then you don't know what else he might lie about. So it's basically, even if you don't find out bad things, it's just kind of backing up, whatever it is that they've told you in conversation. And if you don't see, if everything you find out kind of matches what they've already told you, then, it's a little bit easier to say, okay, he had a couple speeding tickets, but he told me about that. Or he had a DUI 10 years ago when he was young and dumb and he told me about it. I don't even drink anymore, whatever. Okay, fine. He told you about it. He was honest. You found out about it or whatever. But if the guy was like, oh, I'm squeaky clean and I have never broken the law before, and then you find this DUI, that's a little bit of a different story. So it's basically all about if their story matches up with their the facts, just the facts, man.
Right. It could be kind of scary to think about trying to find new people or finding people that you don't really necessarily know. And so these resources can help to kind of squelch some of those fears of like, who are these people that I'm talking to? Can I trust these people? Should I be going out to dinner with this guy? Should I be going to this person's house? Should I trust what he's saying? If you've been out of the dating pool for 20 or 30 years, these are things that 20 or 30 years ago, these are resources and options you never even had to think about.
That's right. And when you were married, the person who was protecting you was your spouse. So he's not there to protect you from these other guys. And so you're on your own, you're doing this. And so you got to protect yourself.
Right. And, I'm a big crime junkie fan. I like to watch true crime. I watch 20/20, 48 Hours. And so when you see that kind of stuff, you know anything can happen.
Right.
I'm not saying that if you go out that you're going to be the victim of some kind of, scam or crime, but anything can happen. And it's always better to be more careful.
Right.
Or to be more cautious than it is to just, throw caution to the wind.
Right.
I mean,
That's true.
you're never going to be sorry for being more cautious. And the bad thing about this is that you have to know the county. This is limited to just the county that you're looking in.
Right.
All right. And the next thing you might want to check are some arrest records. You can go in and type in recentarrest.org, and you can find arrest records from all 50 states.
Wow.
If you're looking in, say, Florida, you can type in arrestrecords.org. You can go to Florida, you put in, John Doe, and every John Doe in Florida who's got an arrest record will come up.
Wow.
You can see their mugshots. You could filter it by county.
Everybody might have a past, but you got to decide for yourself if whatever it is you find out about that person is a deal breaker or not. Like I said,
Exactly.
if they were arrested for, super speeder or not having insurance on their car or some non-violent crime, or, maybe, I don't know how you feel about, some recreational drug use that might be legal in some states or not. Maybe they got arrested for some weed or something, and that's not something that will bother you. But if they're a sex offender or domestic violence or maybe even a DUI or embezzlement or some kind of it just depends. You got to decide what's a deal breaker or not. And sometimes people make mistakes and they get caught, but what was it all about?
You can see if they have an arrest record, was it a one-time thing, or sometimes you type in somebody's name and you see it. Here it is again, here it is again, here it is again, here it is again. So you see that they have a pattern. Right. And so if somebody has a pattern, this is what I tell my kids. The only way I know how they're going to act is from the things that they've done in the past. And that's so the only way I can predict your future behavior is by looking at your past behavior.
You still want to have some things to talk about. You still want to be able to get to know each other and be able to ask questions of each other and everything. But also, as soon as they find out that you did a little digging, one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to be really pissed off and offended that you were, delving into their personal stuff. And if that's the case, then you should probably be worried about that too, because if they have nothing to hide, then why are you worried? They should understand that as a woman, you are trying to protect yourself and that you're going to do your due diligence. And then the other thing is they should look at you and say, okay, well, she's trying to protect herself. And so she's a woman who is looking out for her best interest. And guess what else? I'm not going to be able to pull the wool over this woman's eyes. So if he was trying to trick you about anything, he would know, well, she's not gonna I'm not gonna be able to fool her.
Exactly. So I just wanted to end with decisions. And I guess when I was watching your video, your dating series videos on your YouTube channel, you talked about how you have so many decisions to make. Like, do I even want to start dating again? Do I want to go out with this person? Do I want to, stay by myself? How do I feel about this? Like, as a widow, you have so many decisions to make. And the sad thing is the person that you are used to making your decisions with is no longer with you.
Right.
And so I just thought maybe this little PowerPoint will help you to make some decisions. Like, do you want to go out with this person? Do you even want to get on a dating app? Are dating apps safe? Is it safe to start dating again? Because some people still think about, when they think about getting on a dating app or when they think about going out, they still think that it's kind of taboo. Like you said about meeting your ex-husband. No, not your ex-husband. Sorry.
Didn't I teach you about that? Damn, watch your mouth.
When you met Dewey and you met him online, even though that was, 25 years ago, it was taboo, I think that some people still think about meeting people online is still kind of a risque type of thing.
It's kind of a taboo
especially
thing.
When you're talking about widows who are 50, 60 years old.
Right.
They're not, when they first started dating, when they were 20 years old, there wasn't even a online option.
Right. Maybe it was before the internet. So how did you meet people in a different way? And I think we kind of forgot to mention the whole fact that in the very beginning, there's a lot of fake people. Like there's a lot of scammers and fake people out there. And so some of these we acted like all this stuff is after you've met someone and you feel like you need to move forward, but some of this stuff would actually eliminate a lot of those people that aren't real people. Like they have a model picture on their profile. There's some person over on the other side of the world who's trying to take you for your money, who pretend they're catfishing you, or they're totally spamming you and they're not who they say they are. And they're trying to get your money. So a lot of this stuff in the beginning would completely eliminate that problem, because as soon as you go on Facebook and you look up their name and you find out that is not who they say they are, then you're done. That's not even a real person. So again, that would help to eliminate a lot of people that you don't even want to message with, because you can read in their profile, or you can just kind of tell from their pictures or things like that, that it's not even a real person.
If you're going online to make a profile, you're going online to make an app, you're going online to look at, a dating site, and you might as well go online and use the resources that are online to kind of check out who you're talking to.
Exactly. Because if you don't learn about it until it's too late, then it's kind of like, well, why didn't you did you check their Facebook page before you met them in person? Like, didn't you even at least do that? And and I will say that it's not just about the information. As I said, when you're the one who's doing the dating and you're the one who's doing the searching and the looking, your feelings are involved, your emotions are involved. You're looking at pictures and you're starting to think about maybe spending time with a person. Maybe you want this to work out because you really like what you found out so far. You don't want to find out bad things about this person because you already think you like them. And so you're kind of like, nope, I don't want to know if he has a criminal past. Nope, I don't want to know if he's actually married. And so get you a Stormy is what I'm trying to say. Like, get you a person. Get a sister, a friend, a coworker, a confidant, someone else on the WidFam group, on the Facebook group or something, someone else who is not emotionally invested in this to help you do a little bit of digging, because they're going to be your voice of reason. They're going to be the one that says, hey, that the guy, according to Facebook, it still says he's married. Like, maybe he just hasn't changed his status. I don't know, but this, right? Just so you know. So that's what Stormy was for me. I was like, oh, it's fine. He's fine. He's fine. And she's like, no, Leo, for real. Like, look at what I found out.
Hold on. I'm going to come back to the real world.
Come back to the real world. Hello. Well, hopefully these little lessons, this is just like a drop in the bucket, but I think just using those methods that Stormy introduced today will be a huge help. And even if you just did those 2 or 3 different things that we talked about today, I think that it would give you a really good idea of whether or not you should just delve a little farther in meeting somebody, or whether you should say, you know what, that's just more than I'm ready to handle right now, or that's not even a real person. It kind of gives you an idea of, do you want to move forward with this person, or do you want to cut ties and try to meet up with someone else? And so
peace of mind, it's all about peace of mind.
Exactly. And also, just make sure that you do the smart things. If you meet somebody for the first time, meet them in a public place. Don't meet them at your house, their house, that kind of thing. But that's common sense. Hopefully you got some and you use it. So yes, if you, like I said, I will post as much as I can in the description. And then if not, I'll just kind of give an idea of how you would find it for your own county or your area. And hopefully those resources will be helpful to you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss any more of these very helpful videos that are going to help you in your journey. And also,
I'm also available for anyone who's married and is trying to catch their husband cheating. I can do that too. Just want to say,
she's offer her services.
If you think your husband's having an affair, I can find that out.
I'm telling you, this could be your retirement plan right here. So
if you're in a custody battle and you need to find some dirt on your ex-spouse, I can do that too.
Oh my.
Any of that. And don't ask me how I have experience. I'm just saying.
All right. So like I said, make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you go ahead and comment below and let us know if you found out anything about someone that you thought about meeting and how you found out about it.
Or some resources that you use.
That's right. Help us out. If there's some resources we didn't mention those. And if you've used any of those resources and you have a story about, hey, I found out this and that, and thankfully I did my research before I got too far in, just share some of your experiences with us so we can sort of see, how this stuff really works in the real world. So All righty, so we're going to wrap it up with that, and thank you, Stormy, for joining us. We're going to have her back again sometime soon, I'm sure, because we like having her as our guest speaker.
Thank you. Anytime.
All right, and we're going to wrap it up, and we will see you next week on the next video. Bye. Wait, try it again. You know where your fit? Wait, do you know where the little hole is? You got okay, go.
Oh, okay, hold on. Do I know where the hole is?
All right, you ready? Bye.
Bye.